Representative Matt Gaetz. I've got my different opinions and perspectives in regards to this politician. It's important to question them all, but occasionally I gotta say, I don't see a Democrat really coming down on hard on these people who are associated with the Department of Defense, especially U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, where not only does Representative Matt Gaetz ask him, is there a potential of U.S. forces fighting off against Gazan forces? Is the F-35 finally admitted as a failure because more than 2/3 of America's F-35s can't fly? By the way, trillions of dollars, folks, trillions of dollars. But we can't do public schools or public banks. We can't do, investing in our infrastructure, but trillions of dollars into a plane that can't fly. And finally, also, the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin admitting to Washington that, look, this fight in Ukraine, it's a big old fart in the wind. There you go. There you go, indeed. And thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. So let's go ahead and pull up this first video. I find it to be pure gold. Absolute pure gold. For first, hey, here's something that should keep you up at night. The possibility of U.S. forces possibly engaged in combat with maybe forces in Gaza. Who knows?
Ms. Locken just said there'll be about 1,000 U.S. service members operating a peer system off of Gaza. How many of them will have guns, Mr. Secretary?
Well, typically all of the deployed service members carry guns, and they have the ability to protect themselves if challenged.
So if someone from land in Gaza shoots at our service members who are on the $320 million pier that we're building, you're telling me our service members can shoot back?
They have the right to return fire to protect themselves. Now,
well, do we think that's like? So now I want to move to the likelihood that you think someone from land in Gaza might shoot at our service members on this pier.
By the way, what's off that pier? Some good old-fashioned fossil fuels, natural gas. Remember that pier? Especially that one pier that was being built by the World Central Kitchen with the rubble remains of people's homes in Gaza. Well, U.S. forces are going to be there. Why are our forces there now? Why are we there now? Oh, God, are we being set up? Will there be like a air quote unquote, quote unquote, an attack? Because, maybe it's just me, but I'm seeing a whole lot of red flags and I'm hearing a whole lot of alarm bells ringing. Something tells me that this is a bad idea, but say it with me, folks. U.S. forces in Gaza. What could possibly go wrong? Does anybody know? Hey, hold on. To be like CNN, we'll let you decide.
Think that's a likely scenario?
That's possible, yes.
This is a very telling moment, Mr. Secretary, because you've said something that's quite possible that could happen, right? Shots from Gaza on our service members, and then the response, our armed service members shooting live fire into Gaza. That is a possible outcome here so that we can become the Port Authority and run this pier. Right?
That's correct. I expect that we will always have the ability to protect ourselves. Don't you think that counts as
boots on the ground? President Biden told the country that we weren't going to have boots on the ground in Gaza.
And we won't.
And never forget, to all these young protesters, I hope you're paying attention. And again, if this is being perceived as a way of talking down to you, you have to understand, for a long time, 2017, maybe up to 2019, Hardlands Media, we're covering all these protests. And every time, protesters be somewhere downtown Chicago, and then they'd march to Trump Tower. Never once did they have that energy to, protest against any kind of Democratic politician or their offices or anything like that. But they always made a big event to protest in front of Trump Tower. Biden just said to the American people that our forces won't be in Gaza, but yet that's what's happening. That's what's happening right here, right now. So, to you young people, do not fall for the trap of AOC or Bernie saying things you want to hear and then all of a sudden falling for the fear for the fear tactics that CNN and MSNBC, New York Times, or anyone else is going to be saying, like, if you don't vote for Biden, we're going to get Trump. And Trump is bad. Don't fall for it. You're going to get lied to. At least Trump is up front with his BS. But at the end of the day, it's not about who's in office. It's about what you're going to do after election night. Just remember, the Democrats are capable of much evil, just like the Republicans are. Okay? They just got a fancy neoliberal mask, and they got AOC and Bernie Sanders to dance in front of you to distract you.
Well,
Okay, but you guys parse the distinction between, like, when Americans think boots on the ground, they think Americans in harm's way or engaged actively in a conflict. You guys seem to be sort of saying that boots on a pier connected to the ground, connected to service members shooting into Gaza, doesn't count as boots on the ground?
it does not.
I think you're going to find the American people have a different perspective on that. And if we're going to have people shooting into Gaza, we probably should have a vote on that pursuant to our war powers.
Yeah. I don't know. Why are our forces there in the first place? That's what I kind of want to know. It's not like, they could get attacked. Now, if you want to get angry, listen, please be advised. This is going to get you angry. The F-35 fighter jet looks like an awesome piece of equipment, right? Looks cool. Looks like a Star Wars kind of plane, but I hate to alarm all of you. And my colleague Daniel has done a fantastic. If you've been watching Hard Lens Media from the very beginning, you'll know that we've talked about the F-35 and how it's an epic failure. 2/3 of the fleet can't fly. Now, I'm not a professor, a doctor, an astronaut, an engineer, a mathematician. I'm not some great philosopher, but correct me if I'm wrong. But aren't airplanes, I don't know, all of them kind of sort of should fly? I mean, is that a controversial statement that needs to be said? Airplanes should fly. If they're not flying, then they can't be planes. And if 2/3 of them can't fly, maybe the program sucks. Let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 for Kit. If an airplane chooses not to fly, well, that is that airplane's perspective and point of view. And how dare you assume that all planes should fly? You, sir, are canceled. The type 2, well, I'm going to agree with you, Kit. It's controversial, but yeah, all airplanes should fly. I wonder how many 2s we're going to chat, but chances are, knowing my audience, you all are going to type 1s. I know it. I know what you people will do. What do you mean, you people? I mean, you people.
But I want to bring us now closer to home and the F-35 program. Is the F-35 program a failure?
No, it's
Okay, so let's go over how much does an F-35 cost?
well, it depends on the variant, but
100 million? Safe to say? 100 million a copy? Okay, so we just had the Air Force in here, and I said, what percentage of these F-35s are fully mission capable?
I hope you're sitting down. This is where all your money's going.
And they said 29%. Do you have any basis to disagree with that assessment?
I don't have any basis to disagree with the Secretary.
So at 100 million a copy, 29% being fully mission capable, does that seem low to you?
Listen to that again one more time.
I don't have any basis to disagree with the Secretary.
So at 100 million a copy, 29% being fully mission capable, does that seem low to you?
I'm not an expert on military tactics or airplanes or anything of that nature, but that seems like a low number to me. But I'm seeing in the live stream chat, if a plane wants to identify itself as a land plane, then it should.
It's a complex airframe, and again, there are a number of reasons why a platform could be not operational at any one given time. But
right, but I mean, how many?
Having said that, it is one of the best aircraft in the inventory.
The best aircraft in the inventory. Well, Mr. Secretary, there's
God damn it, dude. Seriously. So the best aircraft in the inventory. Explain to me, why is it the best if it can't fly? 29% are mission capable. Trillions of dollars have been wasted on this plane that can't do its job. You know, I mean, I just got to say, this warrants it, and I got to bring it out, dust it off. But oof, 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 indeed.
There's a GAO report that takes a very different view. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter the GAO report entitled F-35 sustainment cost will continue to rise while planned use and availability have decreased.
Without objection, so ordered.
It reads, cost to sustain the F-35 fleet keep increasing from 1.1 trillion in 2018 to 1.58 trillion in 2023. Yet DoD plans to fly the F-35 less than originally estimated, partly because of reliability issues with the aircraft.
Oof, 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 indeed.
Also trended downward over the last 5 years. Is there any of that in the GAO report that you disagree with?
I don't know.
Okay, so how many $100 million paperweights do we own?
I would not categorize the F-35 as a paperweight.
Listen, I know many of you are very creative in my audience, but hey, have at it, my people. Good hunting and good creativity. But why don't all you lovely, beautiful people turn the F-35 into a meme and turn it into a paperweight? I'm sure some of you will be very creative. Some of you will be able to pull this off. Be creative, my lovelies. You got this. You got this. But also, again, oof, 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 indeed.
Well, if it's not mission capable, if it's what do we just stare at it and admire it?
We continue to work to make sure that we get our aircraft operational and continue to and many,
I don't know. Don't you think at $100 million a clip, more than 29% should be fully operational? And if the fact that we can't get them operational, you know what Secretary Kendall said when he was sitting in that chair? He said the core root of the problem is that we had let Lockheed Martin build this thing, and then we gave Lockheed Martin the full system performance contract, and they keep bilking us according to the GAO, and we sit around staring at a $100 million airplane that can't fully perform the mission, and you're sitting here telling me it's not a failure. Just own up to it, Mr. Secretary. Just say, this airframe has not delivered. It's too costly. It's not being utilized as we should, and we should never again make the mistake of doing a full system performance contract with the very person who built the aircraft. Could we agree to that?
I agree. And
Hey, Representative Matt Gaetz, you can't disrespect the military-industrial complex. Think about it. You could be hurting Lockheed Martin's feelings or Boeing's feelings. And actually, you know what? Tell you what, Boeing, you don't have a wing to stand on. Your planes keep falling apart there, lovely.
in the future, we should have a different approach. I'm sure that Secretary
Good.
Kendall also
I
told
think
you
the committee is going
the
to help
things
you
that he
move
was
to that
doing to get
different
the
approach quite quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, folks, how do you think I feel about the F-35 bleeding this country dry? You want to know how I feel? I don't like it. And any bill supporting it?
All of that. And that's why I absolutely oppose every bit of it.
You say it, my spirit animal. You say it. And then finally, folks, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, in the midst of Washington, D.C., cutting its losses in Ukraine. Remember that? Remember that war? You know that war that's bleeding us dry?
Most conflicts of this type, it ends with some sort of negotiation. And again, if that happens, when that happens, we want Ukraine to be in the best possible position to be able to achieve its goals and negotiate for the right things. It's up to Ukraine when that happens and what they choose to agree to or not to. Our goal is to make sure that they have the security assistance to be able to continue their fight to protect their sovereign territory.
Gentleman's time's expired.
You know what's really messed up, though? You know what's really crazy? And despite all of this, we have forces potentially at risk in Gaza, or we could become a port authority there because that natural gas ain't going to protect itself, right? Or liberate itself. They also got an F-35 fleet that can't fly. Majority of the planes identify themselves as land planes. Okay, so be more inclusive, hard lens media. Then, of course, hey, oh no, is Washington D.C. cutting its losses with Ukraine? I don't know. With that recent aid package, Zelensky, like anybody else, Zelensky wants 10 more years of U.S. funding. The latest U.S. aid package for Kiev, which was only approved by Congress after more than 6 months of partisan feuding, might be small potatoes compared to what the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has in mind for his biggest benefactor. Oh, isn't that special? Kiev is negotiating with the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden on a long-term agreement that would put Washington on the hook to provide Ukraine with military, economic, and political support for the next decade. Zelensky said on Sunday in his daily video address, such commitments are needed to ensure Ukraine has the efficiency in assistance. It needs to stem recent battlefield advances by Russian forces and gain the upper hand, he said. We are working to commit to concrete levels of support for this year and for the next 10 years. It will include military, financial, and political support, as well as concerns joint production of weapons. Great, folks. If you think the government works for you, you are gravely mistaken. And how do I feel about any bill that will be promoting more war and more insanity? Take it away, my spirit animal. You're the only one that could save us. You're the only one that can.
Flies in the face of all of that. And that's why I absolutely oppose every bit of it.
So shout out to Representative Matt Gaetz. Hey, I don't have to agree with a politician. I really don't. But, my friends, my lovelies, if this isn't a reminder to you about how much money is being wasted on endless, stupid wars, let it be reminded that under this administration, we have an F-35 program fleet that can't fly. Trillions of dollars wasted. I never want to hear, oh, we can't do anything about student debt forgiveness or Medicare for all. If we got the money to flush down the toilet for this plane that can't fly, we got money to take care of the people. Where's our 10-year aid package for the U.S. citizens as our homes are becoming, owning a home now is becoming the American myth, not the dream, but the myth. All right. What about aid package for small business owners? What about an aid package to improve our infrastructure? You know, when I was in Japan visiting that country, I saw their high-speed railways. Not to mention how absolutely clean their subway and infrastructure was. Okay? It puts what we have here in Chicago and all over this country to shame. And you know what I found out? That they're actually, this was in 2020, in Japan, they're actually improving to advance and rebuild and fund more into their infrastructure programs. So what they got now for trains, they're going to have something bigger and better over there. Yet we don't have that. You know, I don't have to agree with Representative Matt Gaetz, but at least he put that defense secretary, raked him through the coals, as he should. Future generations will look at us with shame at the amount of treasury we wasted on endless, needless wars.